I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you, and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. Genesis 9:13-16. On Monday, March 27th, 2023, a gunman entered into the Covenant School, which is a Christian elementary school in Nashville, Tennessee, and began firing. When the smoke cleared, 3 children had been killed, as well as 3 adults.
3 9-year-old students, just sit with that for just a second. 9-year-old students and 3 adults were killed at the Covenant School in Nashville, Tennessee. Surveillance video shows the moment that this shooter entered the school. We have to warn you, you've seen it. It's extremely disturbing. You can see the shooter, who police say was a former student, breaking a glass door with gunfire. Police say this attacker was heavily armed and this attack was carefully planned. We're joined now by Nashville's police chief. His name is John Drake. Good to see you, Chief Drake. I'm so sorry it's under these circumstances. My heart is so heavy. I'm so sad, so angry and mad. I cannot imagine how you were feeling this morning.
When we take a deeper look at this event, it becomes clear once again that this was an orchestrated satanic ritual meant to exalt the devil and his antichrist. Let's take a look. As always, after each mass shooting, there's a cacophony of calls for gun control, including a call to ban assault weapons.
Congress should restore a ban on military-style assault weapons and a 10-round limit for magazines. It's time for Congress to require a universal background check for anyone trying to buy a gun.
The people demand a law banning the sale of assault weapons. The people demand we prohibit the sale of high-capacity magazines. The people demand universal background check.
Before I began to speak, the reason I spent a little time with the kids, I just wanted to speak very briefly about the school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. It's just, it's sick. You know, we're still gathering the facts of what happened and why. And we do know that as of now, there are a number of people who are did not make it, including children. You know, the shooter in this situation reportedly had 2 assault weapons and a pistol, 2 AK-47. So I call on Congress again to pass my assault weapons ban.
However, the truth is, when we compare the recent phenomena of mass shootings to historical data on mass shootings, we find something very interesting. From 1900 to 1929, there were only 3 so-called mass shootings. The first was between miners on strike and strike breakers. The second was a shootout between Filipino sugar workers on strike and police, where police killed 16 people. The third was the Valentine's Day Massacre, which involved organized crime members killing each other. There were only 2 in the 1930s. The first was a shootout between police and fugitives, including Pretty Boy Floyd. And the second occurred when a political parade was shot up.
Others bullets mowed down a political parade at the coal mining town of Calairs, Pennsylvania. Police pick up empty shells on the roof. It was a Democratic parade. This is the Republican leader's house. But it was a vendetta, nothing but a local vendetta. The enraged killers fired through the window panes, right through the glass. The murderous crossfire, a hail of bullets was concentrated.
There were only 3 in the 1940s. The first occurred when 9 Nazi German prisoners of war were killed by an army guard. The second involved the lynching of 4 African Americans who were then shot by a white lynch mob. Clearly, each of these shootings that were characterized as mass shootings are not at all related to the type of mass shootings we see today. The third and final incident in the 1940s was called the Walk of Death killings, wherein Howard Unruh killed 13 people in 12 minutes while walking through his neighborhood. Howard Unruh is the father of the modern-day type mass shootings that we see in America and across the world. In the 1950s, there was one mass shooting where Puerto Rican nationalists shot and wounded 5 representatives in the House of Representatives.
Police hurried to America's House of Representatives in Washington following an attack by 3 Puerto Ricans, including Rafael Miranda, who fired on the senators in the chamber. Fellow gunman Andres Condero and the woman member of the trio Lolita Lebron are hustled away from the menacing crowd. Firing more than 20 rounds from their Luger automatics, the 3 fanatics seriously wounded 5 senators.
The 1960s saw 7, the 1970s 16, and the 1980s 23. From the turn of the century, the year 1900, to 1989, there were only 56 total so-called mass shootings, and most weren't related to the type of random mass shootings we see today. Add to this fact that machine guns were still legal and accessible to be purchased by the public, as they were not made illegal until 1986. Yet, in spite of this, the number of mass shootings prior to 1986 were considerably less, even minuscule in comparison to the number of mass shootings we see today. Logically then, mass shootings are not a byproduct of the availability of guns, including assault rifles. This is about manipulation and control, and it is escalating as we get closer to the end. In the 90s, there were 45 mass shootings. From 2000 to 2010, there were 52. From 2011 through 2020, there were 206. In 2021, there were 693. In 2022, there were 647. And in 2023, thus far, there have been 130 mass shootings. Unfortunately, the reality is most people are just simply gullible, or so apathetic and resistant to searching out the truth for themselves that they are willing to believe whatever lie they are told by the propaganda fed to them through the tell-lie vision. That being said, let's analyze the details of the shooting.
Something could be empty.